The hauler's nightmare. The Maddox house looks like something tried to claw its way inside. Deputy Warren stands in the front yard, his flashlight sweeping across the damage. Deep gouges run along the siding. 4 parallel lines, spaced too wide for any dog, any bear, any animal he's ever seen in 30 years of Texas law enforcement. The windows are cracked in spiderweb patterns, as if something heavy pressed against them, testing. No footprints in the dust, no tire tracks on the road, just the damage, just the silence, just the smell, copper and rot, drifting from somewhere he can't identify. He crouches beside the family's truck. His light catches something wired beneath the rear axle. Teeth, coyote teeth, dozens of them, strung together with rusted wire and blackened sinew, twisted into a shape that almost looks like a face, a tracker. Warren doesn't touch it. He's heard the stories. Every trucker in Pine Ridge has. Something hunts these highways after midnight, and it just marked another family. In the flatlands outside Pine Ridge, Texas, truckers whisper about something that owns the roads after dark, something not human, something hungry. And by the time anyone believed them, the hunting had already begun. Before we begin, I want to thank every soul that keeps returning to listen. You've turned whispers into echoes. If you haven't already, subscribe and stay close, because what you're about to hear is one story you won't forget. 4 days earlier, Caleb Rourke has driven these highways for 19 years. He knows every pothole on Route 84, every closed-down gas station, every stretch of road where the cell signal dies and the radio turns to static. He's hauled cattle, chemicals, frozen meat, and once, though he doesn't talk about it, a load that smelled wrong and paid too well. He's 46, bad knee from an accident 7 years back, divorced twice, no kids. The only thing that stayed with him is Hank, a bloodhound with drooping eyes and a nose that can smell a rabbit from 2 miles out. Tonight, Caleb's hauling refrigerated freight through a service road that cuts between abandoned oil fields, the kind of road that doesn't show up on GPS, the kind of road truckers use when they need to shave time and don't mind the dark. Hank rides shotgun the way he always does. But tonight, Hank won't settle. The dog keeps lifting his head, ears twitching, a low growl building in his throat. His eyes fix on the tree line, a wall of mesquite and scrub oak that runs parallel to the road, black against the winter sky. Easy, boy. Caleb reaches over to scratch Hank's ears. Just coyotes. But Hank's growl deepens, and then Caleb sees it. The shrine. It sits just off the shoulder, half hidden in the brush. A structure that shouldn't exist. Not here, not anywhere. Caleb slows the rig. His headlights catch the details. Scrap metal, twisted into a frame. Rusted and jagged. Deer antlers wired to the top, forming something like a crown, and stretched across the frame. Hides, thin, dried, stitched together with what looks like fishing line and sinew. It looks like someone built a shrine out of roadkill. The smell hits him through the cracked window. Death and dust and something else underneath. Something sour. Something alive. Hank whimpers. Caleb leans forward, squinting through the windshield. Something moves inside the shrine. Not small. Not an animal seeking shelter. Something big. The shape shifts in the darkness. A limb, too long, too jointed, unfolds from the structure's opening. Caleb doesn't wait. He hits the gas. The rig lurches forward, tires spitting gravel. He doesn't look back until the shrine is a mile behind him, swallowed by the dark. Hank doesn't stop growling for another 20 minutes. The return route. Caleb finishes his delivery at a distribution center outside Midland. He drinks bad coffee. He lets Hank piss on a fence post. He tells himself the shrine was nothing. Some tweaker's art project, a hunter's camp, something explainable. He takes the same service road home. He shouldn't have. The shrine is gone. Not moved, not collapsed. Gone. The spot where it stood is just empty brush, as if it was never there. But something else is there now. Footprints. Caleb stops the rig and climbs down, his bad knee screaming as he drops to the gravel. He limps to the shoulder, flashlight in hand. The prints run parallel to his tire tracks. Massive, three-toed, with deep clawed drag marks between each impression. Too large for any animal in Texas. Too wrong for anything that should exist. They follow his exact route. Something tracked him. Caleb's mouth goes dry. He sweeps the flashlight across the tree line and freezes. The creature. It stands at the edge of the mesquite, maybe 50 feet away, towering, 8 feet tall, maybe more, covered in mud-black fur matted with dust and something darker. Its shoulders are hunched, its arms hanging past its knees, its hands ending in claws that catch the light like oil-slicked bone. Its eyes glow yellow, not reflective, glowing, like furnace coals burning in a skull. It doesn't move, it doesn't chase, it just watches. Caleb can't breathe, can't think. His body is locked, every instinct screaming at him to run, but his legs refusing to move. The creature tilts its head, slow, curious, like it's studying him. Then it smiles. The mouth splits too wide, revealing teeth that don't belong in any natural jaw. Jagged, uneven, stained with something Caleb doesn't want to identify. He backs toward the cab. 1 step. 2. The creature doesn't follow. It just watches. Caleb hauls himself into the truck, slams the door, and reaches for the ignition. And stops. The window beside him is fogging, but not from his breath. The fog is spreading from the passenger side. Slowly, every nerve in his body screaming, Caleb turns his head. The passenger seat is empty, but in the window's reflection, just for a second, he sees it. Something crouched behind his seat, something with yellow eyes, something breathing. Caleb guns the engine. He doesn't stop until he reaches Pine Ridge. He doesn't look in the rearview mirror. He doesn't check the back of the cab. Hank howls the entire way. Harley Maddox is 17. Her sister, June, is 15. Their father, Dale, has driven trucks for longer than either of them has been alive. He's gone more than he's home, but he calls every night at 8 p.m. Sharp, never misses. Tonight, he doesn't call. At 9:47 p.m., Harley's phone buzzes. A text from Dad. Girls, need you to bring me supper. Old Rhea's truck, stop off Farm Road 12. Broke down. Don't tell your mother. Come quick. Harley frowns. The Rhea's truck stop has been closed for years, shut down after a fire killed 3 people in the attached diner. Nobody goes there. Nobody stops. She texts back, Dad, you okay? Why are you there? 3 dots appear. Then, just come. Please, I'm hungry. June reads over her shoulder. That's weird. Dad never says please. Maybe he's hurt. Then why not call 911? Harley doesn't have an answer, but something in her gut twists. Not fear, not yet. Something closer to instinct. The same feeling she gets when a storm's coming, before the sky changes. They take their mother's car. They don't tell her where they're going. Farm Road 12 is empty. The street lights ended 2 miles back. The only illumination comes from their headlights, cutting through dust that hangs in the air like fog. The truck stop, the Reyes stop, is exactly how Harley remembers it from the news photos. A burnt-out husk of a building, the roof caved in, the pumps rusted and dry. The diner's windows are boarded with plywood that's warped and split from years of weather. No trucks in the lot, no one waiting. But there's a semi idling at the far end of the parking lot. Its headlights are off. Its engine rumbles low, a sound that vibrates in Harley's chest. Exhaust curls from the stacks, pale against the dark. A figure stands beside it. "There's Dad," June says, reaching for the door handle. "Wait." Harley grabs her sister's arm. Something's wrong. She can feel it, a pressure in her ears, a tightness in her throat. The figure steps forward. It's a man, tall, wearing a trucker's jacket, the collar turned up against the cold. He holds something in his hand. A phone. Their father's phone. Harley recognizes the cracked screen, the faded case. The man smiles. The wrong man. The smile is too wide. Harley sees it immediately. The way his lips stretch past where they should stop, pulling his cheeks into something that isn't quite a grin. His jaw is too long, the bones beneath his skin jutting at angles that don't match any face she's ever seen. And his shadow. The headlights from their car cast his shadow behind him. But the shape is wrong, too large, too hunched, the arms too long, the head crowned with something jagged. The shadow doesn't match the man. "June, get back in the car." "But that's not Dad." The man's smile widens. His eyes catch the light. Yellow, glowing, furnace bright. "Girls," he says. His voice is their father's voice, but layered, like multiple throats speaking at once. "I've been waiting for you." He moves. Fast. Too fast. 1 second he's by the semi. The next he's at June's window, his hand pressed against the glass. June screams. The man's fingers press harder and sink through, not through the glass, through her arm. His fingers don't stop at her skin. They push in, like talons piercing flesh, like his hand is made of something that doesn't obey the rules of solid matter. June's scream turns raw, animal, as blood wells around the intrusion. Harley throws the car into reverse. The man, the thing, doesn't let go. He's dragged with the car, his feet scraping the asphalt, his grin never faltering. His mouth opens, and the sound that comes out isn't human. It's a screech. Metal on metal. A car crash and a dying animal and something else. Something that drills into Harley's skull and makes her vision blur. She slams the brakes. The creature stumbles. June rips her arm free, skin tearing, blood spraying, and Harley floors it. They don't stop until they reach the highway. In the rearview mirror, the creature stands in the parking lot, their father's phone still in its hand. It waves. June's arm is wrapped in gauze soaked through with red. Their mother called 911, then called their father's company, then sat at the kitchen table and cried when no one could tell her where Dale was. The police came, took statements, looked at June's arm with expressions that said they didn't believe a word but couldn't explain the wounds. 4 deep punctures, evenly spaced, too precise for any animal bite. They left, said they'd file a report, said they'd send a patrol car by in the morning. The Maddox family is alone. Harley sits in the living room, a baseball bat across her knees. She hasn't slept. She can still hear the screech, that awful metal-on-metal shriek, echoing in her skull. June is upstairs, sedated, finally unconscious. Their mother is in the kitchen, staring at her phone, waiting for Dale to call. The house is quiet. Too quiet. Harley realizes she can't hear anything. Not the wind, not the coyotes, not the distant hum of the highway. The silence is thick, heavy, pressing against her ears like water. Then she hears it. Crack. She turns toward the window. A thin line runs through the glass, spreading, branching. Another window cracks, then another. All at once, every window on the ground floor fractures, not shattering, but splintering, as if something is pressing against them from every direction, testing, probing. The headlights on her mother's car flicker on, then off, then on again. Then every light in the house dies. The creatures, Harley moves to the window, bat raised, her heart slamming against her ribs. Something paces in the yard. She sees it in the moonlight, a silhouette that doesn't make sense. Part man, part animal, part something her brain refuses to process. It walks on two legs, but its gait is wrong. Too smooth, like it's gliding rather than stepping. Its head is massive, crowned with antlers or horns or something jagged and dark. It stops in the center of the yard and turns toward the house. Yellow eyes, furnace bright, fixed on her. Behind it, smaller shapes emerge from the dark. They move on all fours, crawling over the cars parked in the driveway, scaling the hoods and roofs with unnatural ease. Their bodies are hunched and twisted, their faces hidden behind masks of bone. Skulls, she realizes. Animal skulls. Coyote, deer, something with fangs. They sniff the air, they snarl, and they start tapping on the windows. Tap, tap, tap. Dozens of claws drumming in unison. Patient, rhythmic. The smell hits Harley through the cracks in the glass. Rot and copper and something musky, animal, alive. Her mother screams from the kitchen. Harley runs. She finds her mother backed against the refrigerator, a knife in her shaking hands. Something is scraping at the back door. Slow, deliberate, claws dragging down the wood with a sound like nails on a chalkboard. "We need to go," Harley says. "Go where?" "They're everywhere." The door splinters. A hand reaches through, black-furred, clawed. It gropes blindly, searching, fingers curling. Harley swings the bat. The impact jars her arms. The hand withdraws with a screech, that same metal shriek rattling her teeth. She grabs her mother. They run upstairs. They barricade the bedroom door. They sit in the dark, listening to the sounds below. Claws on walls, glass cracking, something heavy, dragging itself across the floor. They don't move until dawn. When the sun rises, the sounds stop. When the police arrive, they find nothing. No footprints, no fur, no blood. Just the damage, just the silence, just the coyote teeth wired beneath the family's truck. 40 miles north of Pine Ridge, a woman named Rita Vasquez loses control of her rig. She's been driving 18-wheelers for 12 years. Never an accident, never a close call. She knows these roads, knows the rhythm of the highway, knows when to brake and when to push through. But she doesn't know how to react when a figure appears in her headlights, standing in the middle of the road, not moving. Rita swerves. The rig jackknifes. The trailer swings wide, catches the shoulder, and drags her into the ditch with a scream of metal and a shower of sparks. The cab tilts, settles, and goes still. Rita hangs in her seat, held by the belt, her head throbbing where it struck the window. Blood trickles down her temple. The engine is dead. The headlights are still on, pointing into the tree line at a crooked angle. She reaches for her phone. No signal. She reaches for the radio. Static. She's alone. Except she's not. The sounds. She hears it before she sees anything. Wet sounds. Chewing sounds. Something tearing flesh and crunching bone, muffled by distance but unmistakable. Rita unbuckles her belt and drops into the tilted cab, landing hard on the passenger door. She pulls herself up, peers through the cracked windshield. Her headlights illuminate the shoulder of the road. Blood trails cross the snow-dusted gravel, dark, thick, smeared in patterns that suggest something was dragged. The trails lead to the tree line, and at the edge of the trees, barely visible in the light, lies a shape, a bull, massive, black, half-eaten. Its rib cage is split open, organs pulled out and scattered. Its legs are bent at impossible angles. Steam rises from the exposed flesh. Still warm, Rita's stomach heaves. She looks away and sees the figure, standing at the edge of the light. Tall. Wrong. It's hunched over something. Its back is to her. Its arms move in quick, jerking motions, and she can hear it now. The wet chewing, the crack of bone. It's eating. Rita doesn't breathe, doesn't move. She presses herself against the seat, making herself small, willing herself invisible. The figure stops. Its head turns. Not the body, just the head. Rotating too far, too smooth. Yellow eyes fix on her. It smiles. Rita screams. The offering. She doesn't remember climbing out of the cab. She doesn't remember running. She just remembers the cold and the dark and the sound of her own heartbeat drowning out everything else. She hides in a drainage culvert until the sky turns gray. When she finally crawls out, the road is empty. The bull is gone. The blood trails are gone. She walks back to her rig, her legs shaking, her hands numb. The cab door hangs open. She climbs inside and freezes. The bull's head sits on her dashboard. It's massive, heavy enough that it's cracked the plastic beneath it. The eyes are still open, glassy, twitching in their sockets with a motion that shouldn't be possible. The tongue has been torn out. The stump of the neck is ragged, chewed. Around the horns, someone has wrapped a wire. Coyote teeth dangle from the wire like ornaments. A tracker. Rita backs out of the cab. She walks until she reaches the highway. She flags down a passing car. She doesn't speak for 3 days. When she finally tells her story, no one believes her. The Pine Ridge Sheriff's Station is small. 3 desks, a holding cell, a coffee maker that hasn't worked since 2019. But tonight, it's crowded. Caleb Rourke sits in a folding chair, Hank lying at his feet. Across from him, Harley Maddox holds her sister's bandaged hand. Their mother stares at the wall, hollow-eyed. Rita Vasquez sits alone in the corner, a blanket around her shoulders, her eyes fixed on nothing. Deputy Warren stands at the front of the room, a map of Pine Ridge County pinned to the wall behind him. Red dots mark 3 locations: the service road where Caleb saw the shrine, the abandoned Reyes truck stop, the stretch of highway where Rita crashed. They form a triangle, and in the center of that triangle, deep in the flatlands where the oil derricks stand rusted and silent, sits a 4th mark, faded, almost invisible, an abandoned processing plant, condemned 20 years ago after an accident killed 11 workers, sealed ever since. Truckers have been talking for years, Caleb says quietly. His voice is hoarse. He hasn't slept in days. Stories about something on the highways, something that hunts after midnight. We all thought it was bullshit. Ghost stories. Meth heads seeing things. He looks at his hands. It's not bullshit. Warren doesn't argue. He's lived in Pine Ridge his whole life. He's found things on these roads that he's never put in any report. The trackers, he says. Coyote-tooth. We've found 3 now, all wired under vehicles, all belonging to people who've seen something. What does it mean? Harley asks. Warren hesitates. Old-timers used to talk about hunters, not people, things. Things that came up from the south, from the borderlands, from places where the ground still remembers blood. They said the highways called to them. All that death, roadkill, accidents, bodies that never got found. They said it fed something. He looks at the map, at the triangle, at the processing plant in the center. They said it's not random. The shrines, the trackers, the way they watch before they take. They're not just hunting. He meets Caleb's eyes. They're farming. The room falls silent. Outside, the wind picks up. Dust rattles against the windows. What do we do? June whispers. Warren doesn't answer because he doesn't know. Caleb steps outside for air. The parking lot is empty except for his rig, parked at the edge of the gravel. Hank follows him, pressing close to his leg. The night is cold. The stars are sharp. The highway stretches into the darkness, a black ribbon cutting through the flatlands toward nothing. Caleb lights a cigarette. His hands shake. Hank growls, low, deep. The same sound he made on the service road. Caleb follows the dog's gaze. Across the highway, at the edge of the tree line, something stands, tall, still, watching. Yellow eyes glow in the dark. Caleb doesn't move, doesn't breathe. The creature raises one long arm and points, not at Caleb, at the rig behind him. Caleb turns. Hank is gone. The passenger door of his truck hangs open, and from inside the cab, from the dark, where the dome light should be but isn't, he hears it, breathing, slow, wet, patient. And then, a voice, his own voice, Caleb, his name, spoken by something wearing his throat. Come drive with us. The engine turns over. No one's in the driver's seat. The headlights flicker on. And from the tree line, from the brush, from the dark spaces between the oil derricks, shapes emerge. Dozens of them, furred and wrong and hungry, bone masks gleaming in the moonlight. They're not hiding anymore. The hunting has begun, and in Pine Ridge, Texas, where the highways cut through abandoned oil fields and ghost towns swallowed by dust, the roads belong to the monsters now.